fifth dimension. Aquarius I am. We in the Aquarius age for the next 2,000 years, you dig?
Swing low, time to move on. Light years in time, ahead of our time.
I want to free your mind by helping you understand the zodiac signs. That's right, you're live with Aquaman in the zodiac zone where the cosmos is your home. I'm your very own Anpu, the real urban guru, coming through on the mothership. So let's open up your cosmic memory bank and swing down to earth where the shit stank. Hey, peace everybody. Welcome to Hip Hop Astrology TV, man. I'm your host, Anpu, the real urban guru, man. So today, I was really excited about this, man. I really wanted to shoot this video yesterday. But you know, yesterday, I'm watching YouTube and I see The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, and Kevin Hart was on Ellen. And, you know, I get happy when I see happiness. You know what I mean? That's just the truth. You know what I mean? And to see two men, to see two brothers who you can tell, in my opinion, has an authentic, genuine, positive friendship, brotherhood. It's just amazing. You know what I mean? And even Ellen was talking about, like, you two really are good together. And I believe it's on-set and off-set, right? So I said, bam, this is perfect, man. Won't you do a video on showing the chemistry in the stars? Because once again, remember, we always hear the, you know, when the stars align, I guess the stars are aligned. And again, it's my job just to show you that old school statement is very true. All right. So that's what we're going to do. This is very interesting because Dwayne, again, if the public record is correct, The Rock is born in 1972. All right, May the 2nd to be exact, right? So he's born in 72. Kevin Hart is born in 79, right? And this gives us a good 7-year period, a good 7-year gap between both people. This is very cool because 7-year gap to a degree. Dwayne will be the older person, The Rock, and it's like, well, he's more like my big brother in a sense. And you know, 7 years is a nice time where planetary energies are in different locations, all besides, on average, all besides Neptune and Pluto. Everybody else is totally in a different sign. All right, if you know the measurements of this place. All right. So speaking of measurements of this place, you know, the goal is to you know, this is the age of Aquarius. This is the age where you got to become smarter, right, to enhance your soul. And it's a firm belief for me that understanding where you live at on Earth, that's just floating in the vastness of dark space, right? Understanding the mechanics of where you live. Now, when I say mechanics, our place called a year, 365 days, can be measured. That's how we know it's 365 days, or whether we want to break it down to 12 months or break it down into 52 weeks, however we want to do it. The reality that we call time can be measured. Okay? And so we can start to measure our reality, man, and that's pretty dope. It's just some little bit more intricate things that's inside of here that makes it even more interesting, shall we say. All right. So here is a birth chart of both of these people, right? The Rock and Kevin Hart. And I know this looks like, what the hell is all of this? You see all these planetary glyphs, you see all these lines. Now, my purpose of showing you this is what it looks like on paper, but this is really a rendition of the solar system at the time both people are born. And every single line represents, basically, kind of look at it like one person's planet is communicating to another person's planet, and then it produces some form of chemistry. Now, I'm not going to get into more of this as the abstract version of it. I like to get straight into the sky and space because then you get to see it in quote unquote what appears to be real time. Okay. So this is where you got to be skilled at this thing, because that chart thing could, you know, I can see how that could be frustrating to someone who doesn't have the aptitude and eagerness in the sense to want to crack this puzzle. All right. So the moon on this particular slide is by far the most obvious planetary phenomenon in our solar system because it's the closest external body to the Earth. You understand what I'm saying? So when we see a full moon or we see a solar eclipse, we stare in awe of this great moment. This is very, very, very interesting. So the moon in of itself is definitely the reminder that, yo, there are planetary bodies in our system. Now, sidebar, science, I just got an alert on my phone yesterday. Science is just now catching up to the fact that at the time of the eclipse, August 20, what was it, 21st eclipse? At the time of the eclipse, the moon's shadow created what's called a bow wave, B-O-W, a bow wave in the Earth's ionosphere, and actually changed some configuration of the electrons in the Earth's ionosphere. Science is just now catching up to this. So they're basically saying that the moon sent, to a degree, a wave of energy that has some type of effect on the Earth's upper atmosphere. Now, the ancients been on this science. I mean, been on this science, right? So that is very true. These planetary bodies, because think about it. It's a planetary body. It has energy. It has a chemical composition, right? Some may be hydrogen, like the sun. Others may be more nitrogen or whatever, right? It's a planetary ball of energy. And then it's moving. Movement is motion, and motion is energy. So therefore, if you move, even if you just go like this, like literally fan yourself, when you fan yourself when you're hot, you're not touching yourself, but you feel the vibration of air. Those are waves that you're feeling, right? That's energy. So in the cosmos, where these balls of energy are moving past you, in some cases you're moving past them, because the planets that's behind you don't move past you because they're not going as fast as you are. You're going faster than them, so you're moving past them. The ones in front of you go faster, Venus and Mercury, so then they move past you. Then when that happens, those Venus and Mercury's move past you, that's called a retrograde. And we all know what Mercury retrograde represents. If you don't, just Google it. It's a funny time where electronics and things like that start to act a little bit nutty. It's kind of cool as well because it happens like clockwork, right? So these waves of energy are coming. I'm going to show you that these waves of energy, when we're born, in comparison to someone else's waves of energy, it creates some type of dynamic in a relationship. Very true. Very true. So let's get into it. The Rock is born May 2nd, 1972. I want to deal with the moon first. Notice that the moon appears above the scorpion's tail. It's directly in the Milky Way rift, that band of light, right? So for simple location purposes, let's call it above the scorpion's tail, okay? This is a fact. Now, if you start Googling in astrology, the moon rules public appearances, things that deals with public. Now, this is obvious because, again, the moon is the closest body to us that we observe and we be in awe at. Like, ooh, wow, look at that big old full moon, or look at the eclipse, right? So the moon rules public, okay? So the moon in this case is right here above the scorpion's tail. And note the rotation of the moon is approximately 13 degrees per day. She is only in the zodiac sign for a little over 2 days, and then she out. She's into the next sign. Looking at this picture here, she will be moving towards Sagittarius the next day, and then the next day, then she'd be gone. You see what I'm saying? So the moon moves really, really fast. It's the fastest moving body in our cosmos. Okay. Now, speed it up to 7 years where Kevin Hart is born. The moon is above the tail, above the claw of the scorpion. Interesting. Because their moon are in the same vicinity. If I go back to the chart rendition, they got the moon in the same zodiac sign. So this will easily, the moon has always been symbolic for your subconscious thinking, to a degree, your emotional programming, things that you are attached to, things that make you feel comfortable, things that offer you security, and things that you like to protect. The position of the moon shows us which you are emotionally connected to. So technically, although they're born, look at this, 7 years apart, right? Like 7 years and 2 months. These two were born with the moon in the exact same region of space. And then when they find each other, they start to have this great relationship. And I bet you it is as if they knew each other. Now, the moon rules family and Cancer, which is Kevin Hart. What do I mean by that? Let me slow it down. The moon governs a zodiac sign. Every planet has a zodiac sign that it says, hey, this is my sign. I'm the god of this particular sign, right? And this is why I liked how in ancient theologies, they styled the planets as gods and goddesses. They gave them personality types and they made mythos. I keep telling y'all that the God science is inside of understanding cosmology. That's the God science, okay? And so these two share this bond, and if the moon rules Cancer, which is family, and these two have the moon in the same position, this starts to give us indicator like, oh shit, them two is family. And this can even stem from past lives, for real, because if you understand this craft, the Cancer and the moon energy, it deals with past lives as well. It deals with ancestors, things of that nature, all right? So we gotta, man, I just gotta say it, man. We gotta be able to grow into this thing where we understand that, yo, you got this life right here. What makes you think you don't have another one or had previous ones? Excellent source of material to get to show that past lives are real is a book by Dr. Gary Chapman called Many Lives, Many Masters. Okay, you can read testimonials from people who were put in hypnosis, which is nothing more than an advanced relaxation technique to allow your conscious mind to go into the deep memory of your subconscious. Okay, we got problems as human beings where we can't even remember what we had on 2 days ago. All right, what we ate a week ago, right? So you can't, it's a lot of stuff you can't remember, and rightfully so. So my point is, these two are family. All right. So now let's move to some energy here. I want to show you something here because I'm gonna move into Neptune. Neptune has an energy of the imagination and music. Now, the reason that I'm showing you this here is because Neptune also rules films, Hollywood. That's a Neptunian thing. So music, if you notice, musical stars and movie stars are kind of synonymous to one another, right? They're kind of on the same level. It's just, it's stardom, all right? And imagination is definitely, that's what movies do. Movies are really a visual representation of the author's, the writer's imagination. That's all it is, okay? So this is ruled by Neptune. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is because if we go to The Rock's birthday, make a note where Neptune is. Neptune is exactly above the claw of the scorpion, exactly to the T, to the very freaking degree. See, again, this is a mathematical universe, right? Neptune takes an average of 14 years to go through a zodiac sign. Kevin Hart just happened to be born when the moon, who moves pretty fast, was right here exactly where The Rock has Neptune, the energy of film, and then their film partners, right? So when we go to where was Neptune at where Kevin Hart was born, Well, it's right there above the scorpion's tail, right by the leg of Ophiuchus. So that's exactly where the Rock has the moon at when he was born. So they both have this interchange of the moon and Neptune's energy rules films. And then the moon rules the public. So both of these are public partners in films. You see what I'm saying? This is how this science works. So I just wanted to show you that aspect. But let's get into a couple more and then we get up out of here. So May the 2nd, 72, the Rock's birthday. Note that the planet Saturn is right on the face, right by the eye of Taurus. Okay? Right on the eye of the bull. This is where the planet Saturn is. All right? When the Rock is born. Now, Saturn moves about 2.5 years through a zodiac sign. Okay? Well, when Kevin Hart was born, where's Mars at? Bingo! Bullseye. We can say that for real. Technically, we can really say bullseye. Get it? The bull's right there, right by his eye. All right. So bullseye. So Mars is a planet that only stays in the zodiac sign for about 60 days. So how is it that he's born with these planets directly in the same location that the Rock has other planets at? Now, this is an interesting dynamic between Saturn and Mars, and I'll show you why. Let's look at a keyword of Saturn. Saturn's energy says old age. If you look up in the paragraph describing Saturn, I got an arrow pointing to authoritarian. Now, this is known as the father. Real talk. Saturn has a nickname called Father Time. Okay? Father Time is his nickname. So, in the mythology, this is Kronos, the father of Zeus, which is Jupiter. So this is where the whole clash of the Olympian wars and stuff started to take place. Clash of the Titans and all that kind of stuff. All right, so it's just talking about a cosmology thing. Excuse me. So Saturn is definitely known as Father Time, father figure. If you start looking at certain keywords such as discipline and hard work, that has been symbolically and anciently, that's a principle of the father, not taken away from women at all, but historically speaking through culture, it was the man that was the hard worker, the provider, and things like that. So this cosmic ray of light has been styled as the father, and the moon is mommy. Okay, so we're clear on Saturn being the father. Now, what is Mars? Mars is excitement, masculinity. Mars is like the little prince. He's the knight. He's the warrior. He's the younger male, not the older male. See? So when you, even if you look at that interview with on Ellen, this latest interview with Kevin Hart and The Rock, The Rock was like, yeah, even though Kevin Hart, you know, he got this, I forget the exact term, but he basically said, you know, even though he got a motor mouth, you know what I mean, in a sense, right? He's young, he's animated. But this goes back to the dynamic of what they have. See, again, The Rock is the older figure. So he has Saturn, which is father, and then Kevin Hart has the younger hyper energy, right? Because he's a comedian. He's the younger hyper one in a sense. So then that shows you that, okay, this is kind of like a father-son relationship. The mere fact that they have the moon in the same position of space, which is family anyway, then I see another marker that suggests father and the young guy. These two are family, man. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. All right? They were absolutely family. But again, nevertheless, it points to the chemistry of what we see because they have energy in the exact same area of space. Facts. So let's get into one more alignment that they got that is definitely the same. Let's go back to The Rock's birthday. You see it, May 2nd, 1972. The planet Venus, she appears above the horns of the bull. Okay, let's go to Kevin Hart. Wow. The planet Venus appears above the horns of the bull, slightly under the feet of Gemini. Kevin Hart's Venus is a little bit more ahead, just by a little bit. than the rocks, but they have Venus in the same region of space. Now, I know how the cosmos work. So Venus is always pretty not too far from the sun at all times. So they're 2 months apart from each other. But nevertheless, Venus didn't have to be exactly where it was when the rock was born. It didn't have to be right there. It could have been to the left of the sun, because that's very possible if you know the rotation of Venus. Or it could have been a little bit further to the right, behind the bull. It didn't have to be in the exact same region, but it was. So they share the same Venus. They share the same moon. They both have this interplay of moon and Neptune with one another. They got Saturn and Mars, called a conjunction, right? When two energies line up in the exact same place, conjoin. Energies are conjoined. And you can feel this in your day-to-day affairs, because it's like, yo, bro, I rock with that. People who got energy that's opposite yours, or what's called square yours, is people who you be like, I'm not feeling that person at all. That's who that is. But the ones who got the same energy is like, oh, wow, we can do this. Okay. Excuse me. So let's look at Venus. Let's look at some keywords of Venus. The keyword for Venus here is love affairs, the arts, such as movies, right? Entertainment, as you see. Money. It's that suave feel. Sharing. And love. Now, both of them have the exact same Venus. And again, it just points to why they love each other. In fact, they can get money together, right? They both probably think, look, The Rock, I seen him on Ellen. He was like, listen, man, I'm not giving up the title. I think it was, I don't know, the sexiest man in America. And Kevin Hart comes and, Kevin Hart think he Mr. GQ himself. They got the same Venus. You see what I'm saying? So this right here shows me that, oh, okay. When Kev had love affair issues, The Rock is a perfect person to talk to, because they, to a degree, they can share the same viewpoints on love in a sense. Now, I know you may be thinking, well, wouldn't that make The Rock a cheater because Kev was a cheater or whatever? Not necessarily so. Not necessarily so at all. But again, just go back to the dynamic of one is older, the Saturn Mars thing. It just goes back to, it goes back to maturity and things of that nature. And so, and not saying that Kev is immature. I'm just saying you got to understand the bigger picture here when you're looking at all of the pieces of the puzzle. So I just wanted to share that they share the same Venus, the same value system, the same love thing that they have. All right. And again, this just so happened to be another energy that deals with the entertainment business in of itself, the planet Venus. All right. So that pretty much concludes. That's what it is, man. I love this. I love doing these chemistry reports, man, because this is what we got to get into, because for real, this is the science that can show you if a relationship is really worth pursuing. Oftentimes we don't know, and we got to have faith, and it's this blind faith that we have. And you know how many relationships you've been in that were definitely life learning experiences, because all experience are learning experiences. But had you had a foreknowledge of what was going to take place, you probably 9 times out of 10 would opt out of having the experience. Because I always say it like this: raise your hand if you want to get in a relationship and break up. Nobody like, yeah, we're going to get in this relationship because we're going to break up in 7 years at the 7-year itch mark. You know what I mean? We don't do that. So there is a way, because our reality can be measured. And that's what we do. I'm over at myastrologycoach.com, man. Check it out, man. Listen, man, I told you, I got books. You can get Spiritual Wisdom for the 21st Century, an excellent build. It's on Amazon.com, Spiritual Wisdom for the 21st Century. If you're on iTunes or you get down with any, you want to hear it on the audio version, you can get Planets in Harmony off iTunes and all digital media outlets. You can get the Zodiac made easy. All right. Go to my website, My Astrology Coach. You want to get this workbook. It's called the Self-Activation Workbook. Go in the shop tab, books. Get this workbook. This workbook is purposely designed for you to pull up your own chart where the planets were at when you were born, and then start writing this energy down and what it means, so you can know yourself better. All of this stuff is about themes, man. Cosmic rhythms, man. Cosmic rhythms is what it's about, okay? You're nothing more than a big wave of light. I always say it. You got a heartbeat, a brain wave. You rub your feet on carpet, you touch metal, you convey electricity. When you let something happen to you and you lose consciousness and the ambulance come, they come in with the paddles to put electricity inside of you to wake that heart up so that heart can start generating electrical currents again. You are light, literally. I'm not bullcrapping about that. You are light. So if you are light, then there's something about the cosmic energies or where they're at that shows you how to best express that light. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody is light. When you understand light, you understand that there's 6 primary colors in our visible spectrum of light. You got primary colors, then you have secondary colors, and then when they mix, you got tertiary colors. Certain colors balance each other out, and certain colors clash against each other. That's a fact. And this is all predicated upon when you were born and where energy was at, okay? So I'll show you this. Again, take your time when you get over to myastrologycoach.com, man. Got a class coming up that starts January the 11th called The Cosmic Light Body. All right, this is an actual picture of my most advanced, I don't want to use the term student, but I would just say devotee in the sense of devoted to her own self and soul. So much that her face starts to glow. Real talk. All right. I always show pictures of myself, not to be arrogant in a sense, but I'm telling you, this is a real deal phenomenon when you're dealing with light. You're dealing with spirituality, man. All right. And it's just the real. And happy 2018 coming to you, man. And I would advise get this book, man, The Keys. Shout out to my man, DJ Khaled. Shout out to Assad. Shout out to his queen. And have something to go into 2018 with, thinking about success and you know, a philosophy. What's going to be your philosophy on success? And mine's this year, I had a phenomenal 2017. In comparison to 2016. Once again, I saw tremendous amount of growth in all areas. All right. So but again, have a philosophy going forward in 2018. And I say it's the keys. All right. So with that, man, check me out. All right. Get at me. Peace.
Prophecy is what we all have to go by now.